talk about sexual risks and condom programs in prisons. In Germany, we have a very diverse practice of issuing condoms in prisons. We will see that here. I once made a journey. I was in Mozambique in a prison. I came back, and at the airport in Munich, I read a newspaper. And within the next month, I flew to Lesotho, to Maseru prison. It was a coincidence that I got the numbers on this side, but we'll tell you what is this all about. In Maputo, Mozambique, we found that almost 24% of prisoners were HIV positive. Approximately the same number among staff members, 24, 22%. Sexually transmitted is the main route of transmission. And in focus groups with prisoners, but also with prison staff, with responsible people from the Ministry of Justice and many other people, we found that more or less each and everybody was against condoms. And the reason was condoms might increase sexual activity. And also prisoners mentioned the picture that they will give the wrong message to their relatives and to their wives, and indicating that inside prison, Sodom and Gomorrah is taking place on an everyday basis. Whatsoever, each and everybody was against the implementation, the introduction of condoms in the prison setting. So, and this was different in Germany. We do have a very diverse scheme of the availability of condoms in the 16 Länder. It's very diverse in that way that you can get condoms from the social worker free of charge, from the nurses, the medical service sometimes, or you can buy them, or you can get them even from the Catholic priests in the prison. But in one Länder, in one state, in Bavaria, with the capital of Munich, we have a different picture. There, the HIV prevalence among prisoners is 1.5% among men. This might sound very low, but it is 30 times higher than in the general population. In Bavaria, in Bavarian prisons, condoms are only available via application. So you have to go to the medical doctor, to the medical service, and ask for condoms. And in a question before the parliament in Bavaria, the responsible ministry was asked how many condoms have been issued in the time 2005 to 2007. How many condoms have been provided to prisoners? And during that time, 13,000 prisoners were inside the system, and only 43 condoms had been issued. So this indicates that condom provision is associated with a high burden of stigma and discrimination, that a lot of people would not go probably to a female nurse and ask for condoms, which is clear, which means same-sex activities in prison. So there are lots of cultural barriers in order to, let's say, ask for condoms in the prison. The official legitimation of the ministry was that prisoners are informed to behave responsibly right in the beginning of their sentence. Okay. If we take that for granted, we could say that to every risk behavior, so don't take drugs during your sentence, your imprisonment, and behave responsibly. So we can get rid of almost every intervention of the comprehensive package of the UN and the UNAIDS and the WHO. So prisoners are informed to behave responsibly right in the beginning. I returned to Lesotho prison, to Maseru, the capital, and there the Lesotho Prison Service has installed a condotainer. That means it is an automat Sorry, this is an automate from Prague in the Czech Republic. We'll come to it immediately. This was the condotainer in Lesotho. It is consisting of 2 slots. On the right hand, you find condoms. On the left hand, you find lubricants. And these condotainer are installed on each and every ward in the prison, so easily accessible, free of charge. And prisoners can and make use of the condoms and the lubricants. And this has been done, and this has been introduced despite the fact that same-sex activities are, like in most African countries, remain a criminal offense. So once people are caught in the act, they might get an extra charge, an extra sentence on top of the current one, and they are being criminalized and they are being punished. Differently in another project of the European Commission, it was also a joint project commissioned by the European Commission in Brussels. And within this project, our Czech colleagues introduced vending machines for condom distribution in a prison in Prague, in the capital of Czech Republic. And there you can see the condoms. Here we could only introduce condoms, not lubricants. This was not, let's say, discussable with the staff members. And they were installed in a toilet setting. You can see left hand. On the right hand, you see a waste paper basket for the used condoms, where people should insert the used condoms. I don't know whether they are being used or whether the condoms are put to the into general waste paper baskets. So here's a condotainer in San Francisco in a US prison. But all in all, in many parts of the world, such an easy accessibility of condoms is not present. We will find hardly many more examples, but these examples keep in mind that the access, the provision of condoms is associated with stigmatization and discrimination, and this is the most discreet way of giving condoms out to prisoners. But not only to prisoners, like in Germany, on many pubs, mainly in the male toilets, we will see such condotainers or condom automats. I don't know whether this is true for the female toilets, but this also means like convenient advertisement. It is a very intimate setting, and you can easily access condoms while you're not being seen on the toilet. Condoms, and that is a message from UN and many other international bodies, they need to be made available easily and discreetly, ideally in areas such as toilets, shower areas, waiting rooms, workshops or day rooms where prisoners can pick up a condom without being seen by others. The distribution can be carried out by health staff, dispensing machines, as we saw them, trained prisoners, peers, or through a combination of any of these ways. Each prison should determine how best to make condoms available to ensure easy and discreet access. And prisoners should not have to ask for condoms, since few prisoners will do so because they do not want to disclose that they engage in same-sex sexual activities. Condoms should be provided free of charge and can be made available to all prisoners in a health kit given to them upon entry to the facility. This is the case in Austria, for instance. The health kit can also contain HIV and other health information, as well as other items such as shaving kit, toothbrush, soap, etc. An example from Austria is a good example where new incoming prisoners are receiving such a kit with all these items, and they can ask for filling it up. And a water-based lubricant should also be provided, since it reduces the probability of condom breakage and or rectal tearing, both of which contribute to the risk of HIV transmission.